must have noticed in your classrooms that no two children are the same. We see differences not only among siblings but also amongst twins. Differences in individuals are caused by heredity, environment, home, and personality. We inherit genes from our parents, and these are reflected in our physical features and our behavior traits. For example, we find that in certain families, they all have the same kind of nose or the same kind of eyes. We often hear people say, he looks just like his grandfather. How does that happen? It happens because genes are transmitted from the parents to the children. In the same way, we also see certain behavior traits. Like for example, in some families, many members of the families have short tempers, or in some families are very charming. In the past, this often prompted people to say that what a son does, he should be able to do what his father does. For example, in the past, sons were often forced to follow their father's profession. If the father was a doctor, the son was expected to become a doctor also. And if the son did not have the same traits as his father, they were often said that they were black sheep in the family. Today, however, we have much more respect for individual differences and potentials. Environment and home, these two influences can be considered together. Environment is made up of influences of country, community, and home. We are the victims of circumstances. It is our luck to be born in a particular country or home. For example, if a child is born in Syria today, his whole energy will be absorbed in trying to survive, and therefore his nature will be very different to one who was born in a country like the USA where everything is peaceful. If a child is born in a hostile environment, he will be influenced by it just as it will be difficult for a child who grows up in a secure and loving environment. The personality of an adult is reflected in the environment of his home. This in turn will influence the developing personality of the child. A child who is surrounded by love, security and openness has a chance to be good-natured and friendly. A child who is subjected to harsh discipline and nagging is likely to be suspicious, critical and selfish. However, we must remember that it is amazing to see how different children react and adjust differently to situations. As teachers, it is our responsibility to make up for the deficiencies of the child's home situation. It is our job to make a child feel happy and secure. If you notice that in your class, a child comes from a broken home, then is it not the teacher's responsibility to try and give him the security at home? Thank you, and please take a look at this poem. If a child lives with criticism, he learns to condemn. If a child lives with hostility, he learns to fight. If a child lives with ridicule, he learns to be shy. If a child lives with shame, he learns to feel guilty. If a child lives with tolerance, he learns to be patient. If a child lives with encouragement, he learns to be confident. If a child lives with praise, he learns to appreciate. If a child lives with fairness, he learns to be just. If a child lives with security, he learns to have faith. If a child lives with approval, he learns to love himself. If he lives with acceptance and friendship, he learns to find love in the world. Thank you. Teachers, while preparing your lesson plans and activities, let me remind you of the old but familiar theory of whole brain learning, which recognizes that there are many different types of intelligence, and these can be classified under two heads: linguistic and mathematics, spatial, musical, kinesthetic, and personal. While linguistic and mathematical are under the control of the left brain, spatial, musical, kinesthetic, and personal are controlled by the right brain. A child with linguistic intelligence is gifted not only in verbal ability but also has the capacity to pick up sounds. This enables him to be sensitive to shades of meaning, the use and understanding of words in the context of others, to be sensitive to sound of words, to have the intuitive understanding of grammar, have rhetorical abilities, have verbal memory, and to be able for linguistic analysis manifested in the oral and written forms. If a child is mathematically intelligent, it will allow a child to think logically, make connection, think sequentially, and solve problems. Children are able not only to calculate but to have the ability to use logic for conceptualization, analysis, and synthesis. It allows the child to manipulate concepts, to deal with and interpret symbols, to see chains of cause and effect, to enjoy dealing with abstractions, to have the capacity to enjoy problem solving, which involves ability to recognize a problem, to see components of a problem, to be intuitive sense for solution, to have the capacity to form hypotheses. They have a keen awareness of the underlying principles. They have an ability to think rapidly and have keen observational powers. It goes beyond merely being able to calculate. It is the ability to use logic for conceptualization, analysis, and synthesis. Spatial intelligence is based on an individual's orientation to the world around him. It allows a child to organize space, to fit things together, to do geometry, to see shapes. A child has the capacity to perceive and remember a visual world, to imagine. This enables the child to have the capacity to perceive and remember the visual world. He has the ability to manipulate space. He has the capacity to recreate aspects of visual experience in the absence of relevant stimuli. He has the capacity to imagine movement and displacement among parts of a configuration. He has the capacity for mental imagery. Just to give you a small example, there are some people who are very good with directions. You take them to a place once and he can always find his way back to the same place. That is because he has spatial intelligence. While others can never find their direction because spatially they are not intelligent. These people are very good at, like for example, landscape designers. They see a place and they're able to rearrange. They can manage shape. Now there are also people who are musically intelligent. These people are sensitive to sound, their ability to manipulate sound. They have an analytic approach to music. They have the capacity and the ability to use it as a medium for expression as well as for listening, for performing, and for composing. Kinesthetically intelligent is the intelligence that provides people like Gavaskar, like Pele, like Roger Federer, like Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and others, footballers and cricketers, who are cricketers par excellence. Now we cannot say that they are not intelligent. They are intelligent kinesthetically, and so they are able to, they have the ability to control their body movements. They have the ability to use their body as a medium of expression. They have the ability to use their bodies effectively. They have good sense of timing. They have economy of effort. They have strength and stamina. And very importantly, they have quick reactions. In essence, to have the ability to use one's body to perform at high levels of efficiency. What then is personal intelligence? It is the ability to be sensitive to other people's feelings, which is called interpersonal, and an awareness of one's feeling, which is interpersonal. The ability to notice and make distinctions among mood, temperament, motivation, and intentions of others, to act on this basis. People who have interpersonal skills are familiar with other people's moods. They are able to accept their feelings. They are caring and sharing. They have pleasant personalities, they're able to communicate, they're diplomatic, they understand others' perspective, and they get along well in spite of differences. These people make very good team players. Now, to have intrapersonal intelligence, you know yourself, you're able to assess your own life, you are able to assess your experiences, to discriminate between emotion and express them appropriately. You're able to use information about personal feelings and to guide others' behavior. You have a good sense of yourself. You can communicate your own inner states to others. You have clear value structure, and you have the ability to retain your own personality. Unfortunately, in our education system infrastructure, there is very little emphasis on those areas which are under the right brain control. All school evaluation is based on linguistic and mathematical skills. Where in our curriculum has there been space provided for those left brain operations of music, drama, art, movement, dance, and personal relationships? From the time the child goes for admission to kindergarten, he goes through tests in his alphabets and his numbers. So right from the age of 4, a child is programmed to believe that drama, music, games, art, etc. are all extracurricular, and they have no relevance to the more solid curricular areas of language, mathematics, science, and the humanities. Even in the +2 level, where there is some scope for choice, humanities are seen as soft options, while science and nowadays commerce are for the intelligence and tough options. In such a scenario, where does the creative side of the child get a chance to develop, let alone express themselves? But teachers, we have been talking about developing the whole child. We have been talking about encouraging not only the left brain, but also the right brain intelligences. People in our country who are creative have grown in spite of their schooling. But what happens to those who are not specially gifted? Will their creative capacity never gets the stimulation to reach their full potential? So what can we do? How can we remedy this? So I would like to repeat that unfortunately till very recently our educational infrastructure laid little emphasis on areas under the right brain control. All school evaluations were based on linguistic and mathematical skills. There was no place in the curriculum for all operations of the right brain like drama, music, art, movement, dance, and personal relationship. The traditional style of teaching is done through lecturing, reading, and writing. Now we know that these activities appeal only to the left hemisphere of the brain. If the whole brain can be involved in learning, then retention of information, understanding, and subsequent performance can be greatly enhanced. So teachers, please be conscious of the whole brain learning theory and try to involve both the hemispheres to develop all-round learning. For example, while teaching, be conscious of the theory of the whole brain learning and try to involve both hemispheres to develop all-round learning for the benefit of each child. For example, language is a left brain product, but it can be taught through song, through dance, through drama, through storytelling, all of which are right brain activities. Mathematics also lends itself to using the right brain, example, games and activity. Science too is a highly creative subject which can be taught through experiments, while children could be encouraged to devise. Project work, dramatization, model making, all these are used in schools to teach history and geography creatively. Rather than individual assignments, I would like to advise teachers to give group projects because most of all, the personal relationships can be built up while doing group and teamwork, and they become designed to build intra and interpersonal intelligences which are becoming so important for getting along in the world today. Please think of all these factors while planning your lesson plans, formative assessment, tools and enrichments to be more effective in your class. All the best, teachers, and thank you.